All right, fellas, that was so impressive against Senegal. Great finishing this time. You absolutely blew them off the park. You got it done early, so you should all be rested, even with travel coming up, for when we take on Switzerland, okay? They're only one spot higher on the world rankings, but if we can do that to Senegal, we should get past these guys easy. We should melt them like chocolate. It's going to be all good, okay? So let's beat Switzerland and surely make our way back into that top 30 of the world rankings.
Party in the streets and the city's on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 119 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both the All Whites and with Cashmere Tech. I hope you're doing well, and come up today we'll go game with both of those teams. First up is the second friendly of this international window in late March and early April. In 2036 we take on the team on screen in Switzerland away from home. So that will include a bus trip in Luzern. And off the back of that, we're going to go forward to the first leg of our Champions League quarter final at Cashmere Tech, where we take on Real Kakamora. So if you're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But yesterday made our way through the group stages of the Champions League with Cashmere Tech, and also ran through the transfers that did happen going in to the new season. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. To be fair, this season, most of the transfers, I say most, all of them were outgoings, all the same players from last season are here, just a couple who have been promoted from the B team and the under-20s, but we haven't played too many important games with Cashmere Tech since then. We'll cover those ones off once we get past this friendly, where we do take on Switzerland, who, as you can see, are 28th in the world, the same youth rating that we have with the New Zealand team at the moment. So hopefully this might be a team we can beat, especially as you can see their bottom right corner, because their world ranking has dipped down quite a bit over the last little while. Not that long ago, these guys were ranked up 17th in the world. Now they're down to 28th. So hopefully, despite that recent win over Bulgaria, the same time that we played Senegal, we can pick up a decent result over these guys. But as I just said, we did play Senegal, a team that we really outplayed in the last international window, but with our third and fourth choice strikers, just couldn't quite put the ball in the back of the net. But there was no issue with that this time around, and we got off to an absolutely hot start, which is ideal going to the Switzerland game. Only 3 minutes in, Justin Key, I think that shot took a bit of a deflection to beat Baji, but he puts it away there to give us a 1-0 lead. And from there, it did start to become the Josh Pickering show. The Porto man scored that one. Nice finish there, first time with his right foot. 2-0 up after only 7 minutes, and then a few minutes later, a penalty. Not the best one, but made its way through the hands of Baji, and early doors he was already on a hat-trick. That was the half-time score, and then nice and early in the second half, Jones sets up George McDonald back from injury to score a goal. Off the back of that, did start to rotate the team and bring on some players just to try and save some legs for the Switzerland game, but we left on Pickering on a hat-trick. Thankfully, he completed it with 20 minutes left, and we pick up a very comfy 5-0 win there over Senegal. So a good start to this window, and as you can see on the right-hand side, took off a fair few first-team players early, so he should be pretty good going into this game. Also, we actually have some physios now with the All Whites. This is something I didn't notice, but we just did a head physio up until recently. He retired. Then I realised you can actually hire physios for international teams, which probably helps out the big issue that people have with players being tied in international windows. So hopefully that physio might help. Might even get a few more in just to see if it makes a difference. Can use this as a bit of an experiment in terms of hiring physios for international teams, because the game doesn't tell you to do it because there's no staff limitations like there is at clubs. But a really good one for us there in that first friendly. So that's good. Rather surprisingly though, we did drop down the world rankings again before that friendly, and off the back of that win, we are still below Senegal in 31st in the world. Not too sure what else we're supposed to do off the back of a 5-0 win over them to show that we should be a better team. But hopefully, if we can pick up a win over a slightly higher ranked team in Switzerland, that might help us get back inside of that top 30, because definitely deserve to be above those guys based on the 2 times we have played them. Should have beat them last window and bumped them this time around. But with that result and having got it done pretty early, as I said, pretty close to a first choice team available for this second friendly where we do take on Switzerland, and this one is from the Swissport Arena in Luzerne. We haven't done a bus trip for a while here on the channel. Seems like a good time to do one before we get stuck into this game. We take on Switzerland. Let's do a bus trip in Luzerne. And this is where I found to stay here in Luzerne. I've picked out the Hotel Astoria. It looks relatively fancy. It's 4 stars. It's a bit expensive, but to be fair, I think Switzerland is just like that anyway, based on a few programs that I have seen. The main thing, it's got a fitness centre that will do us here with the All Whites. But going over to the website, you can see there's some nice pictures. They've got a little bit, it looks like, of a pool area with a nice umbrella. In fact, I don't know if it's a pool area, might just be a balcony, but it looks pretty good. There's a few vending machines if the guys need some hydration off the back of using the fitness centre. There's the rooms that we'll see shortly once the internet starts to wake up here at my house. And there's the all-important fitness centre that the guys can use to keep ticked over here off the back of that good win over Senegal. Some guy there really obsessed with the vending machines. Going over to the hotel website itself, looks like there's quite a bit going on based on the menu header there. They've got restaurants, bars, movie apparently, but 4 restaurants inside the hotel. This looks very nice indeed. Cocktail bars, all sorts. It looks very nice. We'll make the most of this, and hopefully that will get us ready to beat Switzerland. But to be fair, European teams usually a bit tricky to beat for us with the All Whites than African teams are. And here's the journey that we're going to take to the Swissport Arena. It's about 2.5 kilometers, but should only take us 5 minutes in the car. Probably going to be a bit longer here in this bus trip, but we'll see if it takes us past something interesting. To be fair, it's a little bit outside of the city centre, so not too sure how much of it we will actually see, but let's see what does pop up on this bus trip. Apparently a bit of it might be on a restricted usage or private road, but I do think that's a bit closer to the stadium. Hopefully Google Maps will work on that. Let's start off here right outside of the hotel. Let's just zoom in so Shaun can actually click outside it, so hopefully we can get this bus trip underway. And a little bit surprising that we can actually start the bus trip from right outside of the hotel, because that wasn't covered by Google Maps, which is a bit surprising with Street View. Would have thought Switzerland might be onto that a bit more, but we start here and we should be able to go past a place called Wolfburger and Steak Restaurant. That could be the feed that we go to get if the guys do well in this game. Albeit to be fair, had some pretty good options back at the hotel, so maybe food not the biggest priority on this bus trip. Let's make our way here down this street. I won't even bother trying to say them because I'll just butcher them something horribly here on this one, but we're about to make our way here past, I think, the Wolfburger. In fact, might have already gone past. It might have been what we saw earlier just outside. We did start this bus trip, but making our way here through the streets of Luzerne, and now I think we're going to take here a right-hand turn. Indeed, that is the case. Driving down the wrong side of the road. Let's get used to that, Shaun. Rover in Europe. Let's make our way here through this part of Luzerne and see what is on our way here to the Swissport Arena. To be fair, I think guys might need to be at some big European clubs if they want to spend money here, because I have heard Switzerland is quite expensive. There's a cafe, but again, we had some pretty nice stuff in our hotel for this bus trip, so I don't think the guys should need to stop on the way, especially with this being a 5-minute bus trip. Let's actually see if that's the case now. We've just taken a bit of a wrong turn there. Let's just see where we're supposed to be going, if we can go on the road that I actually want to go on. And we'll have to skip forward just a little bit again, because a part of the road that we're going to use here on our way to the stadium also not covered by Street View, so a bit weird this in Switzerland. As I said earlier, I would have thought they would have had all their streets covered a bit more. We can do a little bit of a stretch here before again jumping forward a little bit. There you can see some signs for some hotels that probably we should have stayed at a bit closer than where we were, but it's not too far. It had good ratings. I think we'll be okay, but we'll make our way here down the road a bit further. Lots of nice architecture here in Switzerland, as you would expect, and also some nice mountain views. If we just go back to where we were when it's not a cloudy day, you can see in the background as I say that it's disappeared again. So much for that. There's the picture I was looking for. Lovely views there of the Alps over in Switzerland, but we'll keep making our way here towards the stadium and probably shortly have to jump forward yet again. And we'll skip forward to the next part where I can actually continue this bus trip going past the hotel and restaurant, which sadly is now permanently closed. It does look like it's quite suitable in terms of the architecture for a ski resorty type of town. And we are just going to drive past it here on our way to the stadium. This is where we want to go according to Google Maps, and we go down this little side street here. So let's see what pops up before, unfortunately, the road stops again, and then we have to jump forward straight to the stadium. So this bus trip was not too well planned. You kind of see what life's about here in Luzerne. It does look a little bit ski resorty, quite nice European areas over here in Switzerland as we make our way past lots of buildings. It's a pretty fancy area, is Switzerland and Luzerne in particular. As I said earlier, seen a few TV shows that did say it's pretty expensive over there. Do need a bit of a baller budget. We keep making our way here down some local houses and whatnot, and that's where things end, and we can't do any more near the stadium. So that's going to be the end of this bus trip. Let's just get a better look of what the stadium itself does look like. And there weren't many good views from photos that we could use from outside the stadium, so this is the best that we can do in terms of the outside. It does look like a pretty tidy stadium. This is the home of the Luzerne Football Club over in the Swiss League. Does look like there's a decent skyscraper nearby that might be used for accommodation, not too sure, but there's the area where we are for this game. We can now get a look at the inside of the stadium itself. There it is. It does look pretty tidy. You can see FCL or FC Luzerne, something about the Steinemeth group there who are doing some advertising inside the stadium, and there's that building that we did see just before. It does look pretty fancy from last year, that photo, but here's the ground that we are playing this game at. Not the biggest. They probably could have gone with something bigger for a big clash like this one where they take on the All Whites, but hopefully we can back up that 5-0 win over Senegal with a decent result here in Switzerland. And here are the team sheets for this friendly that we are going to play Switzerland a couple of places above us on the world rankings, coming to this one off the back of a win over Bulgaria. They are also going with a 4-2-3-1, just a couple of changes to our regular first choice 11. Then Nkuru at right back. Darman I'm going to drop soon for Sono, because he's never fit for these windows. And also we've got Kelly over Young in central attacking midfield, but hopefully decent result here to back up that good win over Senegal. And so far Switzerland have been all over us here in the first 10 minutes, and the first highlight is a corner. That one goes across the face of goal. Paulson can't save it, thankfully doesn't need to. It goes wide, but as you can see there, stats wise, 6 shots to none, now 7, but thankfully only 1 on target, so still 0-0. And just coming to the halfway point here of the first half, thankfully not too many highlights with those stats you saw before, and now it's our first real chance here on the ball in this game. A throw-in inside of their half, thankfully. Keeping hold of the ball, and Beal plays that one out to White there, and a bit of space down our left-hand side. Nice square there. They were lining up to put that one away, and Jamie Kelly will do so. The Lower Hut hero, Justin Keat, also was there looking for a goal, but thankfully withstood that early pressure that Switzerland were putting us under here in Luzerne, and White finds himself in some good space, and then as you can see there, lots of players lining up to put that one away. Thankfully Jamie Kelly does, and we 1-0 in front. Albeit only a few minutes off the back of that, we are now down the other end, and normal transition might have resumed as Switzerland do have the ball, albeit a bit of a loose touch there, and Jamie Kelly can tidy things up. Now Justin Keat took his time on the ball. Not a good idea from him there, as now the Switzerland player makes his way forward. Won't even try and attempt that name. I think he was their key player. There's a real janky knee slide. He's all over the shot, but Alex Paulson, I felt like, could have saved that one from long range. Unfortunately, he didn't, but to be fair, Justin Keat probably should have actually kept hold of the ball there. That's where this all started from. For some reason, no one's marking him, and he puts that one away. Not the best goal to concede, and it's back to 1-1. And just about to make our way into the last 10 minutes here of this first half, and there's a free kick in our favour. Unfortunately, don't do too well with it there through Tressor. We give the ball away, and then he gets a chance here to hit it forward, but unfortunately, just not linking up too well at the moment with our other All Whites players. Again, a chance there for us to get back in position. We don't deal with it well, just hoof it forward, and Switzerland now on the attack. Somehow Nkuru does get beaten to that ball. Thankfully, good chance there for a Swiss striker, but that one does go wide of the post. Yet against Switzerland, all over us in this first half stats-wise. They should really be winning, apart from the fact that the goal we scored had a very high XG. That's about the only stat that's a bit even in this game. It's 1-1, and we'll take that. Need to give the boys here a fair old rev up at halftime to try and get something out of them here. In the second half, a couple of players did drop down to red heart slate in that first half. Tressel's one of them, so Martin Darman can count on for him. The always tired boy also. Beal's only recommended for 45 minutes. Stamenic exactly the same. Can come on for him, and Keat was down to red hot late in that first half. So Chris Jones can come on for him. Jamie Kelly, we're supposed to give a rest to. He's actually doing quite well. We will take off though Pickering for Hall Jones, not doing too well in that first half. Those will be the subs that we do going into the second half. Not too many saved up for the second half because lots of tired players off the back of that Senegal game. Unfortunately, hiring an extra physio hasn't helped too much so far. But we'll give the guys a rev up and hopefully get some action in the second half in our favour as it's locked up at 1-1. And it's time for our first sub here of the second half. Only 10 minutes in, Louis Evans on a 6.4 has dropped down to a red hot. Anto Bratic will come on permanent. To be fair, this might be one of his last appearances in an all-white shirt because these days, Marcus Vinicius from Cashmere Tech, third choice there these days, is a New Zealander, just qualified a bit too late for this window. So Anto Bratic could be on the outer off the back of this game. Hopefully he might do something to help us grab a win. And a few minutes off the back of that previous sub, now is the first highlight of the second half, and Coble pumps that one deep. Thankfully, Kelly heads it forward to McDonald, but then he tried to play it one out to Hall Jones. Good chance here now for Switzerland on the counter-attack, but thankfully again their striker a bit wasteful in front of the goal, and now Tyler Binden, he drops down to a red hot. So coming on for him, Lucas Kelly-Hield. Let's just see which one of him and Curtis might be better suited to that ball-playing defender role. Kelly-Hield can cover left back, bit better at passing and vision. He can stick there as a ball-playing defender. That will be our last sub. A half hour left, still 1-1. And just about to make our way into the last 20 minutes of this game. We've done pretty much next to nothing apart from that one goal that we did score. Thankfully we did. So now we're just going to change things up, go a bit wider and distribute to fullbacks. And hopefully that might help us try and do something to try and win this game. And just inside the last 15 minutes of this game, a highlight starts and a good tackle there from Lucas Kelly-Hield inside the box, but unfortunately does fall back there to a Switzerland player, albeit we had a chance there to clear our lines for some reason, go down the right-hand side instead of straight down the middle where someone was there, try and get us back on the counter-attack. Good tackle that from Adam White. I thought it was. It's a penalty. That one looked like it was nowhere near the player or ball, but apparently that's not the case. Maybe Switzerland can afford lots of gold watches here for the referee. Alex Paulson, thankfully, with a save, but parries it back out to Elijah Hotz, who puts it away. So it wasn't much of a penalty save, and they go 2-1 in front. Off the back of that, going to go full out attack here because we've done next to nothing attacking-wise in the second half of this game. We'll also try and pass shorter, just see if that might do something, and also try the high defensive line from Cashmere Tech. But unfortunately, a bit of a dodgy penalty it looked like there, that one, albeit hopefully the penalty decisions on next year's game with the Unity engine might be a bit better looking because they're very dodgy looking on FM this year. The ones that do look like penalties usually aren't, and the ones that don't look like they are usually are penalties. It's a bit funny, but we do go 2-1 down. Hopefully can get straight back into this one like Switzerland did in the first half, but poor giveaway there from Stamenic, and again Liga makes his way inside the box. Thankfully Paulson gets a touch on that one onto the post. Off the back of that, we're going to put our mentality to attacking as well, but not looking good. 2-1 down, late in this one away. And still not much going on off the back of those changes that we did make prior to that goal which Switzerland did score from the penalty spots. Now it's time for us here to go a bit more direct and see if that might do something. Also distribute quickly, and let's just go for it. Let's put our centre backs onto the bureaus that has worked previously at World Cups, albeit probably the first couple of World Cups. Don't think we're able to do it for a little while now with this all-whites team, but let's see if Kelly-Hield and Curtis, they can do something as the bureaus. And off the back of that, there is a highlight which is in our favour. Darman and for Jones, back out to Darman, puts this one far post for Hall Jones, but unfortunately, unlike Pickering so often does, he can't hit the target, and that probably was our chance to try and steal a draw from this game based on stats. Can't argue with that result. To be fair, Switzerland probably should have beaten us 3-1 based on the stats, but unfortunately, that was a pretty poor performance off the back of that 5-0 win against Senegal. European teams we continue to slightly struggle against here with this all-whites team, so unfortunately a 2-1 defeat, both their goals. A little bit dodgy fought there that Paulson should have saved that shot for the first goal, and then a bit of a dodgy penalty that we did concede, but unfortunately it's a loss to Switzerland, 2-1. So our first loss in a wee while there with the All Whites there against Switzerland, and unfortunately that has resulted in another drop down the world rankings. We are now 32nd in the world, and I really can't make sense of this because Senegal are still in 30th, despite the fact we beat them 5-0. They did beat Montenegro, who are 102nd in the world, so I don't get the world rankings at this point. We're probably going to go up them, because coming up, as you might have seen before, we have got, once we go back to our page, eventually we'll get there, the OFC Nations Cup starting, the group stage. Those will be easy wins maybe. That's when we jump up the world rankings. But honestly, Senegal in 30th, absolute frauds. We thrashed them 5-0. But anyway, dropped down the rankings, but to be fair, not by a big amount. But we are now 32nd in the world. But it's time to switch over into Cashmere Tech mode and update you guys on what's been going on here since we did complete the group stages in yesterday's episode. And to be fair, we just played one competitive game, which could be important because we could take this team on in the semi-finals of the Champions League tomorrow. We played Western Suburbs in the Charity Cup and picked up a 2-0 win. Now, to be fair, they did get 2 red cards, so that was a bit of an influence in this game, albeit we didn't actually put them to bed as much as I thought would be the case off the back of that. But that red card to Cogman, we did score 2 goals off the back of that through CR Diallo and Khaled. Another red card to Tiffany with a couple of minutes left, went full out attack. Didn't really pay off, only a 2-0 win there, so actually a bit disappointed with that considering we played against 10 and 9 men for a decent half hour and 10 minutes of that game, but definitely the dominant team as you'd expect. And to be fair, based on XG, it was a fair scoreline, but thought with a first choice 11, we might win that game a bit more comfortably. Max Caputo still starting in central attacking midfield. I still updated in yesterday's episode. For some reason I didn't, but Lorenzo Janssen, the injury he picked up in that game, which we did play against Waniagu, with shin splints, he is out for 2 to 3 months, albeit these days that's not too far away. He's only 3 to 7 days away from coming back from that. And also Asana Diop, unfortunately, our starting left back, he is out with a pulled calf muscle. That one a bit more serious currently. He's out for 9 days to 3 weeks. So it does mean currently we're a bit light at left back. The Jack Honey really our only left back option in this Champions League squad. And also we did sign a new player, a right winger who's a bit better than Tariq Nah, but of course not registered for the Champions League. And also he's currently injured. But Andre Salcedo we have signed out of Colombia, 3-star current ability and 3.5-star potential on a non-contract. Nothing too special, but is a touch better than Tariq Nah. So one new addition here at Cashmere Tech. We have actually made a signing this season now, but he'll be mostly used in the National League while we make our way through the rest of this Champions League campaign. But first up in the knockouts, we take on Real Kakamora. To be fair, these guys pushed Western Suburbs quite close in one of the group stage games. They lost 3-1. Pretty similar how we got on against Waniagu with that 4-2 result in that game that you saw yesterday. Off the back of that, they did beat, I think that was Port Moresby before a draw against Lupe Olaspargas. Some mixed results there in the group, but they did finish second. Hopefully this does mean it's a team that we can beat relatively comfortably, albeit if they push Western Suburbs a little bit, that might suggest they might be a bit tough for us. And beefy Western Suburbs, also an interesting quarterfinal, which is quite relevant for us, because once we make our way back to the quarterfinals, they take on Waniagu, the team that pushed us a bit, and we take on the winner of that tie in the semis. So it could be quite interesting here, these ties that both the New Zealand teams have, but hopefully can pick up a nice comfy result here at my arena to make sure that we're going to go through and probably take on Western Suburbs. Maybe Waniagu can cause an upset there in that other quarterfinal that we're keeping an eye on. And to be fair, other side of the draw does look a little bit weak this season in the Champions League, but hopefully a comfy win coming up here to more or less book our ticket in the semi-finals as we take on Real Kakamora from my arena. And here are the team sheets for the first leg of this Champions League quarterfinal. A couple of changes to our regular first choices for those injuries we ran through before. Honey at left back and Max Caputo, his stupid faces there in central attacking midfield. There are Real Kakamora, yet again another team going with a 4-2 round. To be fair, the form isn't too great, so maybe that Western Suburbs result a little bit of an outlier. And we do have a highlight here from the kickoff. It is in favour of Kakamora and mostly the all black with a little bit of a white trim. And to be fair, so far they are keeping the ball here as they make their way down the right hand side, but then they pump that one far too deep, and Ryan Billingsley is there to tidy things up. He should definitely be fresh. Didn't play too much for us during that last window with the All Whites. We hit that one forward there to Ezra Zoomers. Takes on the shot to ZZ, but unfortunately blasts that one well high over the bar, looking for that top right corner. So still 0-all, but another highlight here at the 2-minute mark, a goal kick, which we do win the ball off there thanks to Evans. Plays it forward to Zoomers, and now we find Debenham down the right-hand side, picks out Khalid. Was he onside? Yes, he was. Leaves the goalkeeper rooted to the spot, puts that one away just inside of that left hand upright, and we take an early lead here at My Arena. And who else but our clear player of the season from last year in the Egyptian Y League, Khalid Debenham, just cuts inside, and for some reason they just don't pick him up. To be fair, I think they were keeping an eye on Zoomers there, who might have just been onside, but Khalid definitely was, so maybe that helped us out in that little bit of play there. Debenham picks him out indeed. Zoomers, and I think that would probably have been CR Diallo at left wing, also offside, but thankfully Khalid was on, and he scores a goal, put us 1-0 in front. And lots of action early on in this game at the 7-minute mark, another highlight here, and we are again on the front foot, so this could be a bit of one-way traffic in this game based on how it's going so far. Khalid looking for an early double, that actually forces a decent save there out of the Kakamora goalkeeper to keep it at 1-0, but let's see if we can do something from this corner. Can Debenham pick up another assist? That one comes off the woodwork. Now we try and do something there, but unfortunately do lose the ball. Kakamora clear it away. Still 1-0 Cashmere. And a slight wait until the next highlight in this game, just past the 15-minute mark, and a corner here in our favour. Honey there going far post for Anderson. That one does come off the woodwork, unfortunately not quite the right side, so still 1-0. Lots of chances so far for us to make this 2-0. Hasn't quite happened. Hopefully that won't prove too costly, and Kakamora don't find a way back into this game somewhat like they did against Western Suburbs with that 3-1 loss. If they do that, we might actually have to show you guys the second leg. Another chance for us there, but unfortunately that one gets blasted well over the bar on the front foot, but only 1-0 in front. And we go forward to just past the half-hour mark for the next highlight in this game. Kakamora there were on the attack, but yet again try and play a ball into the mix, which is too deep, and Ryan Billingsley can head that one back to the Spaniard and David Cifuentes. He takes his time before playing that one out there to Louis Evans and now Sam Clark. They just dawdle about here in defensive midfield. We're just waiting here for some gaps to open up, it looks like. Try and make the most of this and hopefully actually score a cushion goal in this one, because it feels like it's been coming for a little while. Just hasn't happened yet. Clark plays that one back to Anderson and back forward to Clark, back in there for Evans, and we eventually make our way deep inside of the opposition half. Honey makes his way down the left-hand side, just takes his time, sizes up his man, plays it in there to CR Diallo, who goes back to Clark and picks out Khalid, who has scored both goals now in this game and puts himself on a hat-trick. It's a really patient goal, quite a well-worked one, and that will put us 2-0 in front. It's taken a wee while, but thankfully it eventually does happen. Honey got that ball down the left-hand side, sized up his man before picking out CR Diallo, back to Clark and Khalid. We just worked the goalkeeper there, and he found himself on the wrong side of that goal, so Khalid could put that one away bottom right corner and make it 2-0. In fact, off the back of that, there's now a free kick here. We pick out Zoomers at the far post, pulls that one back there for Sam Clark, takes on a shot, it gets blocked, but thankfully off the clearance, Honey does win that one back for us. Now Billingsley back in there for Debenham. He'll square this one. I think Zoomers, that would have been a stone cold penalty, but it falls to stupid-faced Max Caputo, who scores a goal in the Champions League. I don't think he deserves to, the blimmin' traitor, but we need to play him sometimes now, especially with Janssen injured and off the back of the sale of Jamie Young. So thankfully he's actually scoring goals for us here at Cashmere Tech, but a quick fire double makes it 3-0. And it looks like that might do it for the first half in this game. Took us a while to score the second goal, but off the back of that, scored the third pretty quickly. 3-0 based on XG actually outperforming it. And Real Kakamora so far have done next to nothing on attack in this game. So pretty happy with how this one is going. Going to play things safe and take off CR Diallo on a yellow card. He's been okay so far. We'll take him off here. And I think the best option on the bench might be Hotman de Villiers, of course, these days. Greenidge is covering central attacking midfielder while Janssen is out with that injury. But I think that's the only sub we need to make going in to the second half. Fairly happy with how it's going. Hopefully we can score a few more goals and put this one fully to bed before the second leg over in the Solomon Islands. And it's only taken a few minutes for the first highlight here of the second half, and it's a throw in deep inside the final third for us as well, so hopefully might be a chance for us here to make it 4-0. Khalid far post is so good with his head, and that completes a hat-trick to Hotman de Villiers straight off the bench. gets himself an assist already. Looks like he might be doing better than CRDLO in this game, which is a bit rare, but that is good work from Carly carrying us so far in this game. And hopefully now we're going to put these guys to bed in the second half with a 4-0 lead. And just shy of the hour mark, a free kick for us here. Debenham will take this one far post, looking for Ezra Zumas. Unfortunately, doesn't connect, but might be another chance here for De Hotman de Villiers to pick up an assist. Just makes his way towards the byline, floats that one towards the far post, but unfortunately Reza can claim that one there for Kakamora. He just takes his time here before dropping it in his feet and pumping it deep, but that one's far too deep. We should tidy it up, albeit Billingsley misjudges it. Thankfully, Anderson is there to cover his blushes, and we play it for Debenham. Now Caputo, he gets taken out. Evans also gets taken out by a player on a yellow card. He gets a second one. We're now playing against 10 men. Surely now we're going to score a few more goals to put this one away before the second leg. And off the back of that, a corner with 25 minutes left. Carlier plays it across there to Clark. We go far post. Honey's having a track across there to get that ball back for us, even though that's the right-hand side and he's a left back. We go all the way back there to Evans. Let's see if we can make the most here of the one-man advantage and really put a big scoreline here on the team out of the Solomon Islands. Debenham just on the edge of the box plays that one in nicely for De Hotman de Villiers, but that shot gets blocked by a defender. To be fair, bit of an interesting option there. It looked like he was going for the near post instead of the far post. We're actually going to leave on there the players on yellow cards. I'd rather they got them in this game than the next one, because of course that would mean they'd be suspended for the semi-final, and we don't want that because that could be against a fellow New Zealand team. But the action continues here with 20 minutes left. There's a highlight of throw-in. We make our way inside the final third. Debenham, bit of a loose touch. There's a Kakamora, had a chance to clear it, don't do it well, and Billingsley gets us back on the attack inside their half and quite deep already. Honey plays that one forward to De Hotman de Villiers just on the edge of the box, tries to square that one, takes a deflection, but apparently there was a foul there on Max Caputo. I didn't see that personally. Editing Shaun might find it, but that looked a bit soft. Zoomers though with a chance from the spot, and that is a very convincing penalty. Buries that one hard into the top left corner, and that makes it 5-0 with 20 minutes left here. Strong penalty from easy Ezra Zoomers. And we're still making our way towards the last 15 minutes of this game. A free kick here in our favour. Clark takes that one short for De Hotman de Villiers, looking for a goal, but unfortunately blast that one over the bar. But now might be a good time for us here to make our 4 subs so these guys can get ratings off of the bench. Zoomers just got the one goal. Might give some game time to our former first choice striker in Juan Carlos Castro. Also, Jack Honey probably needs a rest. Not too many good options though in terms of left back on the bench. So we might just skip that for now. Other players that we could take off, just looking here, Carly probably deserves a rest off the back of that hat-trick. Torikna can come on for him. Who else might be in need of game time? Tristan Turner can come on for Sam Clark. And we might actually take off Honey with that last sub with our current left back situation. Wilson can apparently do it okay. Let's bring him on with our final sub. Still 5-0 in front. And we're just made our way into the last 5 minutes of this game. Still 5-0. A little bit disappointed. Haven't put these guys to wait a bit more off the back of that red card. To be fair, 5-0 should be pretty safe despite what happens in the second leg. Don't think a team from the Solomon Islands should be beating us by 6 goals. Maybe we can make this 6-0 before this one does wrap up. Debenham plays that one back to Evans. Now Turner takes his time before going back out there to Harrison before going back to Evans. Turner eventually takes the shot. It almost beats the goalkeeper there, but it forces the save out of it. It goes out for a corner. Maybe can do something here through someone like Tim Anderson, who has been getting better from these corners, albeit that one goes nowhere near anyone. De Hotman de Villiers can't reel that in. There'll be a throw. Let's try and chuck here Wilson on attack later. Maybe even but before we can do that, it is full time. It's a solid 5-0 win. Did think could have scored a few more goals here off the back of that red card, but 5-0. We should be pretty safely through into the next round of this Champions League, the semis. It just depends now who that will be against. You'd expect it to be Western Suburbs, but Waniagu did give us a fair game in yesterday's episode. Let's go forward and see if they did the same against Western Suburbs, especially because that second leg will be over like this one in the Solomon Islands. Let's get through here the team talk and see if we need to do a post-match interview before we see the results. Indeed we do. Let's just butter mash through this one nice and quickly and get into the results from the other first legs here of these Champions League quarterfinals. And Western Suburbs should probably be going through, albeit Waniagu have scored a couple of goals. It's a 3-goal deficit. I don't know if they can turn that around. We'll come back and make sure, because that one is in the Solomons. Might be more chance of that happening than us getting tipped over, but it's looking like a semi-final tomorrow against Western Suburbs. And we are back and have gone for a week off the back of the first leg of that Champions League quarter final. Indeed, we did win the second leg, albeit a bit scratchy there, only 1-0 over Real Kakamora, a free kick goalie to Sam Clark, an XG of 4. But we only scored 1 goal, but thankfully still pick up a 6-0 win on aggregate. And as you can see, pretty heavy rotation as well for that game, just making sure that no first teamers got themselves in yellow or red card trouble before the semi-finals. And indeed, we are going to be taking on Western Suburbs because they also picked up a 1-0 win in the second leg, so they go through 6-2 over Waniago. Still not sure who's going to be taking on the Hikari United out of AS Dragon or Ericor, but our semi-final has been drawn. Tomorrow we take on Western Suburbs in the semi-finals, and also did play the first game in our Southern League campaign. In between those two leagues of the quarters, 8-0 thrashing of Parklands United. But that will do it for today's episode. A little bit of a long one with that Switzerland friendly and also the quarterfinals of the OFC Champions League. If you enjoyed it, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Tomorrow we'll come back and probably show you both legs of that big Champions League semi against the fellow New Zealand team in the Western Suburbs. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.